financing your next billion gain insights into successful engagements with venture capitalists and investors. Get ahead of industry trends, hear from industry leaders, influencers, founders, policymakers, and governments. Stay in the know on how to finance your next billion.
Jerome Curry, it is so glad and good to be with you today. So we're super excited. Got some great information, great value to share with you and add with you. And along with today, I've got our co-host, Mrs. Yvonne Gamble. Yvonne Gamble, you out there?
I'm out here. It's a beautiful day out here, but here I am.
Excellent. Well, certainly, Yvonne, things are picking up around the nation. Things are picking up around the world. What are your thoughts on where things are now?
Well, I tell you this, Jerome. I think I had to go to bed and before I went to bed, ask the question, because I was talking to a lot of people up in the north and the Pacific Northwest and Northeast, and and they kept asking me, did I think it was going to snow tomorrow? And I said, well, I hope not. Not in Atlanta. I'm like, I hope not. So I woke up, the weather was good, it was beautiful. I've been outside and just a jacket. So yeah, we got a lot to be thankful for, but we definitely want to, send our hearts out to those all the way down to San Diego, California had gotten snow. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, and my heart just goes out. I have a lot of relatives, family, and friends out on the West Coast, and they're just having a time of it. I mean, they've gone from wildfires to mudslides, and now snow. And I mean, they're not getting a dusting. They're getting inches and feet of snow. Down in the valleys and on the beaches. And so, yeah,
Wow.
this climate change is totally unprecedented. I mean, it's not unprecedented, but it's really beginning to show itself. And we can't come back and say, oh, these things are not going to happen, or these things aren't happening, because they're right here, they're right in your face, right in front of you. And I was very excited that Biden put that at the top of his list. With climate change was one of the things he's going to deal with, and he did sign in an executive order because, of course, the fossil fuel industry is going to be concerned about where they're going to be. Are they going to be out of jobs, going to be out of industry? So he's putting together a package that would actually bring URSHA in, an immediate strike for us to go, environmentally friendly, type industry, but also at the same time shoring up that industry, with some type of send off, where they're saying a lot of them, they want to put them to work in the new green environments.
Understood. So, and with anything, with any calamity, or with any sense of change, we also have to be equally equipped to combat that change and be open to that change. And how are we going to be able to address that change? So I think that that's a very valid point. And I think that moving forward, companies should be looking at how they're going to be impacted by the change, because change is going to happen whether we want it to, whether we don't want it to. Change is one of those things that is going to happen, but the question that we have to ask is, are you prepared for that change? And that takes us really right into our topic, our topic for the day, the Business Success 360 Part 2, and really creating a winning organization and cultivating leaders, creating teams, inspiring, energizing, and empowering your employees, and really building an adaptive organization. And what a perfect way to kind of seg into this, simply being able to look at the fact that yes, there's a lot of change, a lot of different things going on across the world. However, what we can do is with technology, with our company, with our concepts, we become flexible. And the way that we become flexible, Yvonne, is we really look at uh, what value can we add in this situation, and how can we make sure that we have teams that are equipped for change. Are our team members, as a part of our organization, are we embracing change, or are we holding on to the thoughts of the past? Are we holding on to this workforce in the past, maybe the workforce again? Are we holding that back? Because a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business owners in this past pandemic, they held on to those things. And as you know now, retail has completely changed. And if you don't have an online viable model, your business maybe didn't get through the pandemic. I mean, it may or may not have, but more than likely your business suffered at least some loss due to not having some type of online presence. So it's not just if we should create a winning organization, or if we should cultivate leaders, but it's how fast, how soon, and how important of an issue it is, and putting in those necessary policies and processes that allow that to move forward. What are your thoughts, Yvonne?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because one of the things that you will never win tomorrow if you've got your hand on yesterday. You're just not going to win it. And yes, and this is what companies have to realize. They definitely have to simply close the door on yesterday and look forward to how do we do things in the future. You have to look future forward. We have to look at AI. You have to look at every piece, digital technology, online technology. Every piece of software that's out there, you need to understand it. You're not going to integrate it into every business, but you need to understand how it impacts your business and how it impacts you if you don't integrate it into your business.
Absolutely.
And like you were saying, you got to get those leaders. Everybody has to get on board, and it's basically it's top down, and that's you have a lot of organizations where you got a lot of young people, a lot of millennials in the organizations, but as we know, those of us who've been out here in the corporate arena, basically as you go through the years and those companies become older model companies, they tend to the forces that be, the powers that be, the people who are sitting in the ivory tower, are the older generation, and then the newer generations are the younger people. Well, we got to get on board from the top down.
Yep.
We've got to get on board. There's no more, status quo, no more business as usual, none of that. And no, we will not go back to what was normal. This is what we was, all summer long. Everybody was looking, when we're going to get to normal? When we're going to get to normal? Well, guess what? When the summer went out and you saw the leaves come in, and you saw them fall off their trees, that's where normal went. It fell off those trees. And now everything is at ground zero. Wow. And this is the perfect time to get those teams, create those hot teams. And one of the things I wanted to just kind of, take each piece and just kind of pick it apart. When you talk about creating hot teams, basically what you're saying is this. I understand my business is sitting in a certain point right now, and it has to have a foundation. Everything in the business can't change all at one time, and that's fine. So what you do is you create what we call a hot team. Put them in that hot seat. And that team then is tasked with going out to the marketplace, find out what's new, what's developing, what can we do, and how can we develop to it. And then bringing that, it's kind of like the scouts. When people went out and we came, across the waters, across the continent or what have you, what did you do? You sent out scouts. And they went out and they saw the lay of the land, and they mapped it out and came back and saw the vegetation that was there, the rivers, the streams, the water, all those, the animals that were there. If other people were there, they came back and they gave a report, and they said, okay, this is what we can do. We made some friends over here. We got to stay, away from, these different places or those places or what have you. Go around this way, take the mountainside that way. And this is the same thing. This is no different in business. We've got to know how to navigate around the new business, the new technologies. And collaboration is key. Collaboration is key. We talk a lot about competition and knowing your competition, but the way that you're going to be able to really survive out there in this new world order, so to speak, and that is going to be through not just simply trying to outdo or outwin or outpace the competition, but you might want to look at them and say, what type of ways might we integrate our services together? Or the service that we're using right now, StreamYard, this broadcast streaming medium that we're using, they were just bought out last week. The deal was closed by Hopin. Hopin is an event planner. Now, Hopin could easily have the same type of streaming service, which they do have a component of that is streaming. But what they did was they said, instead of them trying to set themselves up as a streamer, we'll be the event planner, and we'll go and we'll purchase someone, we'll buy another company, and we'll integrate that services into our service. Now we have both services, and what it did not do was it did not take away the StreamYard brand. That's called negotiation. So therefore, just because someone comes in and buys you out, which Hopin did, they bought StreamYard out for $250 million, but StreamYard still is StreamYard. It still does what it does. And because it now has access to the technology that Hopin has, well, guess what? Its service is going to get better. Now that Hopin has access to the technology that StreamYard, it does not have to develop to that technology. It can simply add that technology to its offerings. And so therefore, what did it ultimately do? It made both of them bigger and both of them better. And so that's what you have to think about. It's not, if you want to get bigger, if you want to get better, don't try to just simply stamp your competition out. That's the old model. That's the old way. And remember, when we said let old anxieties be forgotten and never brought to bear, we left them in 2020. We're not bringing 2020 with us. One more time. I got a meme, a picture of Kermit the Frog, and he said, I'm not turning my clocks back because I'm not going to give 2020 one more hour. Okay. I felt exactly how we didn't want to get, we just wanted to get out. We just wanted to get out of 2020. So I'm telling everybody, get into 2021, welcome to the 21st century, and let's get going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. That is absolutely excellent. And all those things you mentioned are key to building in that culture and building in those things that are going to be really important for the future. And so as we kind of move into that next phase of what this future looks like, we've got our team in place. We're creating a winning organization. We're building in the next components. We certainly want to be mindful of and start to think of how can we continue to reinvent our business. What are we doing what are we doing that's going to be new this year? I'll say this. Here's something that I heard. I heard that if you're still doing the same thing that you're doing the same way you were doing it last year, you're obsolete. And the reason why you're obsolete is because guess what? You have competitors that are constantly looking at what they can do to beat you. You have the market, which has constantly changed. Here's an example of this. Every year, Ford, Porsche, any car maker, they come out with a new model. Now, Yvonne, you have good friends and family that work into the car industry, and a lot of times these newer models, I mean, they may just have one additional gadget, or maybe one additional gizmo or something like that. But guess what? It's something to get the crowd excited. It's something to say, hey, listen, this is something for you to get excited about. And it may not be that exciting, but they're going to make it exciting as exciting as possible. You always are looking at what you can do to further your business. That's what investors want to see. Investors want to see not only are you working on your plans for for this year, but they want to look at, okay, what are you going to do to hit those future revenue goals? What are those new incentives? What are those new the new hires you're going to make? What are you going to do differently in the next few years that's going to continually make your business competitive and continually make your business grow? So when you're looking at when you're looking at stretch goals and cross-pollinating ideas, simply what you're doing, you're getting together with your team. That's why it's so important to have. If you go back to the first Business 360, where we talked about that team and creating that organization, all of these things really come into play because again, if you have that team, if everybody on your team is about halfway out of it and
Yeah.
they just coming to work, listen, you are going to have your ideas are going to be just like that. But what are your thoughts here, Ron?
You're absolutely right. You because one of the something that we very rarely talk about or think about or even bring into the componentry when we're talking about new and disruptive innovation, excuse me, businesses and that sort of thing, and that is research and development. You have to have a component of research and development where you research an idea, you talk with people, you see what they do. This way you can search for that's your searching for opportunities. But truly that searching for opportunities, it should be even deeper into research and development and finding out what your customers want. Your surveys, they must go beyond. We have gotten into this I me self generational type thing, and we've let that spill over from the from just the individual social media of the individual to now into the business place. And so, well, I got so many likes and so many people, they give me a review on Yelp, and they took some pictures and they said, oh, I like this, I like that. We have to get back to doing those real deep surveys and not asking the client so much how you like me as you're going to ask those potential consumers and clients, what do you want?
Absolutely.
Okay, because we have kind of turned the table on a lot of places when you go, especially places that are now. It's very interesting at how these places, as they are scaling down on the amount of people they have on the front line, and
Yep.
that they'll tell you in a heartbeat, oh, go get that information go look online for that. I don't know the answer to that question. They're not even trying to go find the answer. Now
Wow.
you're standing right there in front of them, in the retail shop or wherever you're at a place of business, and you're asking a question, and they're telling you to go online, go look on your phone, and some of them will even will take your phone and look and go online for you and hand your phone back to you and say, see here, you go online and you can get what you need. And it's like,
Absolutely.
okay, your job is going out the window. If I do everything online and I never come back to this establishment, and you're gone sooner, you are going to be gone much far sooner than what you had anticipated. And so we have to look at these types of things as well as those business owners, because what happens is this: yes, you can go online, but if I cannot come to your business establishment and you give me that same level of customer service that you've always given, as long as you have that door open, customer service should never in any way decrease. Customer service, if anything, and especially with the advent of online, should increase if you have customer facing opportunities. So
Absolutely.
therefore, that's an opportunity for you to talk to the customers. You have fewer people coming in. A lot of people are have been sitting in, they've been inside, or we're still inside, we're on lockdown. So if we do take that opportunity to actually go out, there's no reason why you couldn't just have a little section, answer this questionnaire. What types of things would you like to see in this store? Whether those things are online or whether those things are offline or what have you. What would make your, your shopping or your buying or your purchasing, experience better? We've got to go very deep into that and, not just look at it as give me a high customer satisfaction rating, and I'm going to incentivize my employees and say they've done a good job, because that doesn't necessarily equate to the company as a whole of I'm going to come here versus going someplace else.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point. And we're going to leave you with a little bit of a cliffhanger here right before we go to our break. We've got some more information to share with you. And we're going to talk a little bit about data and how that's going to play a major role in you becoming a market leader. And we're going to pause for station identification and see you back shortly. All right.
Okay.
Where do you want your product shipped today? Make Mobamed your PPE inventory warehouse.
All righty. So here we're going to come back. Okay. And we're back.
Absolutely. Well, welcome back, guys, to the FYNB Financing Your Next Billion talk show. And we're going to hop right into it. One of the most important things that you can really do to bring some of this together and become a leader in your market niche is really have data. Your data is going to really tell the story of where your company should go. In the last segment, in the last moments, Yvonne was just sharing how you should be looking at your customer surveys. You should be looking at your customer satisfaction. You should be looking at what your customer wants. Well, how do you do that? Well, you have to be able to start collecting data. And now, what happens when you start to collect data? You start to get a bigger and better picture of who your market is. And that's how you become disruptive. You see, in looking at some of the companies that really became disruptive, you look at Apple. Apple started out with a product, and then they started to look into more and more into what the customer could potentially want, and then they started to build upon that. So every year they would come out with some different products or different things, and then they came up with a disruptive way to introduce this information to the customer, and then they started to come up with disruptive products and services. So what happened? Well, you have these data points that Apple was gathering. And then they took those data points and put together a very well orchestrated and well-oiled story. That's how you build disruptive products. It doesn't just start with you having it doesn't just start with you just coming up with one idea and saying, hey, here this is, and it's going to be disruptive. No, a lot of times what you're looking at could be the 8th or 9th iteration of your product. And by the time that you've iterated that product so many times, well, guess what? It now has the capacity. It now has the awareness in the market. It now has all of those things. It now has all of the intelligence that you've gathered. It now has all of these different data points that you've gathered to make it that much better. And now your product explodes and becomes disruptive. And then you're able to stand out from your competition because you know your customer better than anyone else. What are your thoughts on that, on being a leader in your market niche, Yvonne?
Well, that's called focus. And really, if companies could get more focused on what they do and do that well. If that's, get those one things and be known. That's what when you get to the point where you say, this company is known for, this is what this company does. If you think about, an AT&T, they are a telephone company. Well, AT&T does many more things than telephone. services and what have you that they offer. FedEx. FedEx is what? Oh, FedEx, they ship packages. Well, they've got, they do printing. They have other types of products, other types of services that they do. But what are they known for? In other words, what is their highest and best thing that they do? And that's what if you want to set yourself as a differentiator, I tell people, become Xerox.
Mm.
Become a Xerox. Why? Because if I said I could say to anyone, anywhere, if you would Xerox me a copy of that. Now, guess what? I actually said the name of a company, and then I said the actual what you're going to do. You're making me a copy because there's no such thing as a Xerox. It's a copy. But what did they do? Because they did it so well, they made their name synonymous with the actual product.
Wow.
So even though there's Canon copiers, there's Epson copiers, there's other, so many other copier companies that are out there who do it, and many of them at this moment in time do it far better than Xerox does. Xerox got out, they don't even sell copiers anymore. But yet people are still saying Xerox me some copies. Okay.
Absolutely.
So this is what you do. You make your name, you make what you do in your singular product or service for however long you're going to be in that industry, you make that become a household word. So when they say that word, they say your name, they know that that's what it is. And one of those ways that we are not doing that and that we can be doing that, and it's real simple to fold that in, and that is with your marketing and your advertisement and your branding. When you think about things like you think about Coca-Cola and their brand. Well, when you think about Pepsi, what is it? Pepsi Cola. When you think about 7-Up, cola, all of it's cola. And so therefore, is all of it Coke? Is it all a part of the Coca-Cola company? No, these are all different companies. But what they did with that branding, they branded everything to it comes back to them no matter what. It comes back to them. And so therefore, even if they become at some moment in time not the obvious big giant in the room, they're always seen as the giant in the room. And this is what you want to do with your marketing, your advertisement. And so it's not just how many posts that you do, or how many different social media platforms that you are on out there. I'm pretty sure IBM is not running around and saying, "Oh, my Instagram account, I didn't do any posts today, or I didn't post out on LinkedIn." So they're not looking at that. They're like, we are branding our name. They want to know how many people simply chose our products because we are IBM, or because we are Microsoft, or because we are Apple. Is that why you chose this brand? Not just simply for the features that we have, because it's just like the telephone or the cell phone. Everybody's walking around and has one of these, right? And it's by somebody, and it does the same thing. No matter if yours has more features or mine, looks like a tablet, but it's a phone. Okay, that's okay. You'll get here too. But the fact of the matter is, it still does the same. They all do the same thing. They make a phone call. Somebody can reach you. I can reach somebody. And now we can put different other features on them. But the fact is, it is still a telephone. And so therefore, that's what you want to make certain that you do with your branding. Your branding is very important. And I would say to the entrepreneurs, when you're talking about disrupting the big guys, or disrupting the big guns, then come in to the marketplace with a brand. Come in with the thought of what is their brand that they're bringing into the marketplace. What are they pushing through? That's what people will remember. they'll remember that brand far better than they'll remember anything else.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Now, and I can think of a recent example of someone who just did this. Think about Zoom. Think about now how Zoom has become synonymous with live meetings. You know, people don't say I
Mm-hmm.
want to hop on a live meeting. People say, hey, let's hop on a Zoom. And
Mm-hmm.
that is an excellent example of how
Yeah.
you disrupt the market.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear people
Exactly.
saying, hey, let's hop on WebEx. You know, I'm a WebEx. No, you hear it's Zoom. Let's hop on a Zoom. And there you go.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You're absolutely right. They made their name synonymous with the act, with what you are doing. They made, and that's what you want to think about. How can I? That's a real simple one. How can I make my business or whatever I do synonymous with the act that I do? So when people are looking for it, they're calling the name of my company, but my that has now become synonymous with what it's doing. Because
Absolutely.
you're absolutely right. With Zoom, no matter what platform we're using these days, it's still a Zoom. We were on a Cisco meeting, and everybody on the meeting would say, "Well, on Zoom, we're on Zoom now, and this Zoom is really working." It's like, and the guy kept saying, "This is not Zoom," and the guy was like, "Well, where's my button?" That it was over here because it was in a different place on Cisco. He said, "Well, Zoom usually at what Zoom? They got something new." Like, this is not Zoom. But that's and I'll share one other story, then we'll move on. But my mother, she swore for God, man, and country that we had that she did have stock in AT&T, but that we had AT&T in our home, and that she had that all the time. And I mean, she was on the phone with this one person, and she was arguing them down. Well, we were in rural Michigan. We had GTE, General Telephone Electric. And she was like, "No, I don't have no GTE." So the lady said, "Well, ma'am, look at your telephone book." Was this little telephone book? And she said, "What does it say on there?" She said, "Well, I know this book said GTE. GTE printed that and just sent that to me." She said, "No, I want AT&T. I don't know who you are." Lady she had to realizing that she could not convince her of anything else. She said, "Well, how can I help you?" And then my mother, she spent the rest of the time until finally she moved back from Michigan and 40 years to Chicago. And she said, "Only one thing I want to make certain I have." And I said, "Well, what is that, Mom?" "Make sure I have AT&T. I don't want GTE anymore." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "I should call GTE and tell them that you finally, in that last breath, acknowledged that there was a GTE."
Oh goodness.
Yeah, that's how it is. You get, your customers, they make you loyal to them, and they don't even be your customers. And you look,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's so amazing because one of the things that we've really seen a lot of, especially in these times, is entrepreneurial creativity. Entrepreneurs now they've found new ways to do new things, and that's absolutely what it takes. So how do you encourage that amongst your team? Well, you can always have the brainstorming sessions. You can always look at different ways. I like to look at it like this: what can you do to delight your customer? And how do you delight your customer? You think of something that would be cool, and then you roll it out to them. And so what I've seen a lot of is that a company will create a new feature or a new concept, and they'll roll it out, and they'll roll it out for free. Like, for example, Google rolled out Gmail, and then they rolled out then on top of their Gmail, here's what they did: they started to take the data from the Gmail so that they could create targeted advertising campaigns. So again, there's that entrepreneurial creativity where you surprise your market. Now, hey, we're going to give you a free Gmail account that's up to date. It looks nice. We're going to continuously upgrade it. However, here's something that we're going to do. We're going to be, we're going to be monitoring the data, and eventually we're going to create some new features for you. So the new feature, one of the newest features inside of Gmail, is that when you start to type it in, it auto creates some of the sentences. So, for example, let's meet on, and then the email will actually finish on Wednesday or on next week. So what happened? What am I saying? They found a way to surprise the market, and by doing so, they continually stay ahead of their competition, and they also create different revenue opportunities as well. So always look at what you can do to challenge the assumption. So don't just create these hard rules. You know what? This is the rule for how we do everything. And what you want to have is certain values that you have in place, such as integrity, such as love for your employees or employee development, employee growth, and those values will never change. But the tactics of your business and your strategy and your plan should always be up for debate and assumption, so that you can continue to grow and don't stifle your growth. So what would you say on how companies can surprise their markets and encourage entrepreneurial creativity, Yvonne?
Well, just one of the things that you can do, and that is Friday is generally a day that people have taken casual Fridays or what have you. And now with the kind of the stay-at-home stay in place, they they get off early on Fridays. Fridays, what I would have I'd have a Friday AM early 7 a.m. meeting. And that 7 a.m. meeting is a brainstorming meeting. And that's just the time from 7 to 8 a.m. And all we're going to do is just brainstorm. Whatever, we're not going to try to work it out, to plan it out, but we basically are just going to put up a whiteboard, and everybody types in what their ideas or thoughts are. And those should come from experiences that happened that week. You see how I'm narrowing that down? So things that happen this week, and these are improvement. I want you, we're going to spend an hour, and I want you to think about what happened from Monday to Thursday, and what types of things could be improved upon. It's not something to rate, how well you did or how bad you did or what have you, but something that can be, no blaming, no naming, and all, like no shaming. All we want to basically do is come up with those ideas of what we can do better. This was something that we did. I was in the district service manager over XScribe, and I was in the technology development. And basically, we've developed new technology for the court reporting industry. So we were continuously, every year, the company would redesign its hardware, redesign its software. So we literally had to be, every week thinking or, coming up with something new, with how we could do it new, how we could make our services better, because it was just simply 10 years of, competing in our market space, competing, to bring it to the market space. So therefore, these type of sessions, they truly help, because what it does is it helps to take the bear of accountability and responsibility for coming up with some new ideas off of just simply the shoulders of the actual management team.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happens a lot of times. It rests on the management team to come up with these ideas. Well, the management team, they're managing, they're doing all these other things. Now they got to come up with all these new ideas. And then you have these brilliant minds sitting right at your fingertips, and you're not making use of them. And many of them, because their ideas, they don't feel that their ideas, they can say anything because they're not asked. And so therefore, what do? They take those ideas and that talent, they go someplace else, and you lose talent. So there are a lot of this is for you to not just simply make the business better to get more business, but it's also, you have to think in another stream, and that is, when I do this, I'm also keeping my employees, and I'm letting them see how much I value them by or the management team making all the decisions.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is so good. That is so good to hear. And being able to take your experience like that and really transform it, and really what this all helps you to do, it helps you to be able to do two more things, and two topics we have left. It helps you to be able to move quickly. Uh, when you have this team in place, when you have the different dynamics in place, when you have all of these different concepts in place, it helps you to be able to live speed and build a faster company. When the values are in place, the team is on the same page, everyone understands what the play is, everyone feels valued, no one feels as though their ideas aren't being heard. It's amazing how fast things can move. So this is a complete puzzle that allows you to be able to move quickly through your decisions. So here's something that I've learned in business is how simple is it? Is it if it's extremely complex, you want to make sure that you break it down to a granular level. Here's the reason why, because people in the hustle and the moving of the day, the easy things are the things that will get done, the things that are simplified, that have simple instructions to them. Now it may be a complex project, but it's broken down into very easy to understand details, and it's communicated very well, and so it's very simple, and the play is very well understood. So that could be something simple as a roadmap, having that roadmap up and knowing that, hey, listen, this is that we had our brainstorming session. Great. Here's the idea that we came together on as a consensus. And then here's how we're going to be working on this idea. Here's everyone's part that they need to play in bringing this idea to come to pass. Here's our timelines. So what you do, you simply go from having that brainstorming session to now that you've made a decision. And so now that the decision has been made, the consensus has been gathered, now you move everybody forward. And what you do, as opposed to taking everything on yourself like some entrepreneurs do, really look at how can you delegate, and from that you delegate out those tasks, and you make it very simple so everybody understands what needs to happen. Now making that communication happen and doing those things that really make your project, or really make your concept, or really make your company work, taking the time for that communication is going to take time. Now, yes, you can make a decision quickly, and yes, you can simplify everything. However, in order to do that, in order to take some huge complex project and break it down to the granular details, it does take time. However, I want to tell you that your time spent in making the projects better will allow you to be able to get through your projects, to get through your ideation, to get through all those things a lot faster, so that you can pursue other opportunities. It will allow you to have time to experiment, and everybody feels really good about a process, really good about it. And then finally, you give people a chance to a freedom to fail. So if it doesn't work out, great. You know what? No problem. We took a risk, and we're willing to move forward from there. But that's how you want to be able to take that really big project, break it down into those small elephant-like chunks, and have it available for your team, and really spend the time to communicate what needs to happen. Yvonne, you've seen a lot of companies, you've seen a lot of organizations. What's your thoughts on being able to move things through quickly, and then have them be simple?
Yes, what you want to when I look at this, and I look at the whole living speed model. Basically, what it is, it's trying to move you very quickly from being static or from being stuck, and that's really the quick part of it. Is you're stuck in the mud. You're stuck between, do I move forward? Do I stay with yesterday, or do I just kind of go along to get along? That sort of thing. So it's saying, come out of that very quickly and build. And you can build fast company by building smaller units within your company, and build little boutique departments within that, and then in there you can make those decisions. You can simplify everything, and once you have that, you will, like you said, you will have eliminated the bureaucracy, because now you got this smaller unit. And then once they perfect it, now we can take that and we can replicate it, and we can grow and expand it out into the fuller company. And this way it allows you to pursue opportunities, because sometimes we might miss an opportunity because what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a solution for the whole company, as opposed to maybe a solution to a particular issue. And let's really look at what that issue is truly affecting, and the best way to actually solve that issue might not be to address it at the corporate level. It may be better, addressed or worked out at a department level. And then all these things come in, and you can do the experimentation. And then if there is, failure, you now, because you only have this one small unit that gets affected, then you don't have the concern or the worry that it's going to just disrupt the whole, corporation. So yes, that would be my take on that. And I think we have probably given our audience here a lot of information to really kind of soak in and take in. What I would say on something like this business Success 360 Part 2 is an extremely heavy function for you to really take in and understand. But most certainly everything here that Jerome, has shared with you is in part, and that, I have shared with you, is extremely important. And what I would say is, come back to this tape, play it again and again, stop it, slow it down, listen to it again, go back over it, try it, test it out, put it up against what you're currently doing, and see, how can I take the best of all of what they have to share with me and make that my own. And we invite everyone to come back, take a listen to us, here at FYNB Talks. And you can most certainly, you're going to learn something every time you come. Jerome's going to have something good to tell you about and to share with you on the market space. I'm going to tell you, from the perspective of, hey, if it's not broke, break it so that you can fix it and it can get better. So, Jerome, did you have any last words on the Business Success 360 Part 2 that you wanted to share with the audience before we sign off?
No, I think everyone should, again, take this information and really share it with your teams and break it down into components. Say, what component am I going to work on? And you may just have a calendar where you say, you know what, we're just going to work on one component of this. And so what happens is when you break these things out into components and you finish one component, it allows your team to continue to grow and be better.
All right. Well, thank you. And we look forward to you joining us on our next show.
Financing your next $1 billion? Contact us to be a guest. Join us for the next show.